How's it going, everyone? My name is Joe Cox, and thank you for tuning in to Joe C. Cox Photo. As always, we do have a new plant for the video. Second, this is an unscripted video. And third, this video will cover my own personal experiences and workflows, so there will be some things included, some things excluded. Today's video, we are finally diving into Adobe Photoshop, so very exciting stuff there. And today we are going to be specifically focusing on the camera raw element of getting into Photoshop. So let's go ahead and dive on in. Very first thing that I'm going to do here today is just find an image to open up in Photoshop. So I'm going to go into here. We're going to select this photo here, right click, open with, and we are going to open the most recent version of Adobe Photoshop, which will be Adobe Photoshop 2024. So the very first thing it did is take us into Camera Raw 16.0.1, and you will kind of notice that it is very similar to the Develop tab in Lightroom. So starting up at the very top, we do have our histogram, which is showing our blacks, shadows, exposure, highlights, and whites of our photo. And you can kind of see that's nicely separated and segmented up there. Right below, you can see the camera settings at which the photo was shot, and then you do start to get down into the basic editing portion. So you could go and do an auto, which will have AI basically look over the photo. You could do black and white, or you could do a high dynamic range. We're not going to do any of those. And then moving down to profile, we are currently in Adobe Color. Do have some different options in here. And if you were to click on this little browse profiles icon over to the right of profile, you'll notice it kind of gives you live previews of everything that you could do with it. But we are going to go ahead and hit back, close that out. And then when we do start to get into the actual editing portions, you've got light, you've got color, and you've got effects. All three of which are basically making up the basic panel in Adobe Lightroom in the Develop module. You've got a curve panel, which is very similar to the tone curve panel in Lightroom. You've got color mixer, color grading, and detail, which all three are going to be coming straight from Lightroom as well, essentially. You've got optics, which is similar to your lens correction panel in Adobe Lightroom. You've got lens blur, which is shared between both Adobe Photoshop and Adobe Lightroom. Geometry is a little bit different. This is basically your transformation panel here in Adobe Lightroom, but in here it is called geometry. And then lastly, you do have color calibration, which is also very similar to that in Adobe Lightroom. So I did already do a video on basically all of these. I'm not going to be covering these too in depth. Then moving over to the right side of the screen, you do begin to have a few different options, which again can be found in Adobe Lightroom. So this first is going to be our edit tab. If we were to go down, we do have our crop tab. We've got a healing tab. We've got a masking tab, and we're going to say try on my own. We've also got the red eye correction. We've got this saved snapshots, which is kind of cool. So you'll notice there are none in there. But if we went into edit, it just did some crazy simple things real quick and then went back into snapshots. We could click on this and make a new snapshot. You'll see that's right there. Then if we went back through, drastically changed up our editing sequence, went back into snapshots, made a new one. Now you'll notice that we can quickly and easily get between those two different editing settings, and it will save everything for us. So that is definitely very nice in there. I'm going to go ahead and delete both of these and leave that there. This right here is going to be that presets. So you do have a few different presets that you can apply, or you can go ahead and make your own presets in here as well. And then lastly, you do have this more option, which is going to bring up a whole lot of different little things in there. But just to get us back to the edit, down low now, you do have your zoom. So right now we are on fit. We could go all the way into 100 zoom. We could also do the hide film strip. We could, if we had anything, we could start to sort it by filters, which we don't have. You can give it star ratings. You can give it to the trash if you wanted to. And then over on the right over here, you have different cycles of before and after. And you can kind of, well, let's go back to fit, kind of change up how those are displayed. So a few different options that you can use and work between. And then you do also have this toggle to default settings. So that's our original, that's our edit. And all right, one last thing that I do want to actually kind of add in that I did forget to this video is if you go down to the very bottom, you can either cancel and dismiss any changes you've done. If you just hit done, it will apply the changes you've made, but it won't actually open it up in Photoshop. And then down in the bottom right where it says open as normal image, that is then where it'll open up that file in Adobe Photoshop for you with all the edits you've just made. That is basically all Camera Raw in Adobe Photoshop is. So again, very similar to what's going on in Adobe Lightroom Develop module, but this is what opening up a file in Adobe Photoshop looks like. Thank you guys for tuning in today. I do appreciate each and every one of you. You're all beautiful people, and you know that. But don't forget to give this video a like. Don't forget to get down there and drop it a comment. And as always, don't forget to give it a subscribe. It does help the channel out, and it helps other people learn more about photo and video. But thank you again, guys. I appreciate you, and I will catch you on that next video. Bye.